You're about to go deep with Dan Good.
And we are going live from Rockefeller Plaza in New York with Dan Good. We're going deep. Hey, buddy.
Hey, brother. How you going, my man?
Good.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, big ears. Was that good?
Yeah, that was good. Good little intro.
That was all right.
I'm not sure we're in Rockefeller Center, but we can get there.
Yeah, we'll just make out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, straight to it, eh?
Yeah.
I feel like this is where I left off with Jeremy.
Yeah. Did you? Hey,
It got a little gay near the end.
Yeah. You serious?
Yeah. What's been happening, man?
Well, I've been out filming for my fishing show, CoastfishTV, and I just got back a few days ago, badly sunburned. I actually inherited a massive cold sore, which I carefully peeled off this morning before I came to see you because I thought, unless you've got like a makeup artist here, I'm doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing heaps of work. We went to Harvey Bay and caught heaps of cool fish and, yeah, just love it, mate. Like it's
living the dream.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean, speaking of the show, it's going really well. I looked last time I checked just to drop it. You had like 26,000 subscribers, man. It's really picked up.
It's funny how that all works. I mean, when are you ever satisfied as a YouTuber?
I guess when you get a plaque, right?
Yeah. What's that? 100,000?
A diamond plaque? Yeah, or like millions or something. I'm not sure. It's a lot. I saw Joe Rogan got one a while back before he transferred over with his Spotify deal. Yeah.
Oh, Joe Rogan. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
We can do whatever we want on this podcast.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, like, you know, when I started my YouTube channel, I kicked it off in 2014. You know, I gave it this name, CoastfishTV, after many months of trying to nut it together. I think I got a bit of OCD. So it was like, when are you ever happy? And I think when you get your first sort of 100 subscribers, you're like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I'm not happy anymore. And then you get your first 500 and you're just like, yeah. And then maybe a few weeks later, it's like, and then you get your first 1,000. It's like, man, I got my first 1,000. And then you're like, that's not really that much, because you start comparing yourself to other YouTubers.
Starts going up the tiers. Yeah, like, oh man, why don't I have that amount of views? Why don't I have that amount of subscribers? Yeah.
When you look at someone else that, you know, other YouTubers and they've got these extraordinary amount of subscribers, you just sort of, you're always looking up and you're always just looking up and aiming for the top and trying to get there somehow. And that's when I guess you work out the science of YouTubing. I wish I knew now what I knew back then, because I probably would have done a few things differently. Yeah,
but that's the learning curve about doing these things. And YouTube really does give you a lot of breakdown analytics that are just so helpful for, you know, guys like us that are trying to create those channels and sort the target audiences and when they're clocking out of the videos and they're not watching anymore, and the click-through rate of the links that you provide with everything. It's just good interaction and great to gauge by. But yeah, it's a hell of a learning curve. Like I'm very, very amateur at like trying to build this up, you know, the podcast and stuff like that. But for me at the start, it was just getting consistent with the episodes, consistent, good quality audio, and then going there with further, you know, with the video and everything like that, and having Chris on board with the extra multicam setup and everything going on. It's amazing. But the main thing is just keep plugging at it, keep going and creating content, right?
Well, that's what it's about. I mean, you've almost got to be a little bit of a mathematician or a scientist or something, or analyst to figure out the secret of YouTubing. So, I mean, I wish I knew what I know now in 2014, 2015. I don't think they had analytics so much back then. Maybe they did.
It might be very simple analytics. Yeah.
But I guess if I was to give some tips to you and, you know, other YouTubers out there that are sort of up and coming, one of the biggest things is regular content. So it could be one video per week if you can achieve it. I mean, it's hard with fishing because if you've got a week worth of bad weather, you can't film anything and you've got no content. So
and you're dealing with the elements, obviously.
Exactly. It makes it hard, you know, or maybe if you're fishing with a guest, they're not available that week. You know, you got to find someone else. So there's all these variables that make it hard to pump out regular content unless you take a month off and you fish every second day or as much as you can and sort of cut episodes ahead. And then you basically get this big bank up of episodes which you can drop on a weekly basis. Now, when I first started, I dropped an episode whenever because I didn't know any of this matters. I had no idea. I just thought I'm just going to put it up there, see what happens. And back in, my first episode went up in 2015. Back then it was a sort of different dynamic. The place wasn't flooded as much as it is now.
Yeah.
It's getting flooded with fishing shows. Everyone's doing it. The GoPros are getting better. People are going, I'm just going to start filming. So I always say you've got this recommendation page. So when you get on YouTube, you've got recommendations. So they're the things that YouTube recommend that you watch.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. When you get a recommendation, what do YouTube base it on? So they base it on popularity, subscribers and views. So there's this top tier. Everyone else under that doesn't get that exposure. If you're in the recommendation box,
You're doing something right.
you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So you've got to figure out how to get there. One of my videos that I put up recently, I reckon hit that box because it got smashed. Within 3 or 4 months, it got nearly 200,000 views. Right, it was insane. It was dead for a few weeks, and it started building up, and then suddenly it just one morning I checked it out, and it was just through the roof, and I'm like, what? And then every day I was watching, it was 5,000 to 10,000 views every couple of days up. And then I checked analytics and suddenly the American audience was massive.
Yeah.
And I thought someone in America has shared that video via recommendations. So it's like everything, if you start off with, it's prioritizing. So if you've got 20 people with watching YouTube only, just say 20 in the world, and you've got 20 videos, every video is going to get watched. But then you can break it down to interest. So out of those 10 people, they might watch half of those videos, and then out of 2 people might watch whatever, whatever sort of interests them. So when it comes to the algorithms of YouTube, there's going to be these priorities that they give certain videos, and you're going to be there. But now we're talking about millions of videos. They can't fit all those videos on the recommendations.
No.
So suddenly things get tougher. It's like if you want to be an SAS soldier, you've got 2 spots available, 10 people are going for it, you've got a pretty good chance. But you've got 2 spots available and you've got 10,000 applicants, your chances aren't that good. So you've got to do something different.
Stand out from the crowd, yeah.
Exactly. So if you can start that sort of professional look, that personal engagement, because what I've found that a lot of YouTubers don't always care about what they're watching. It's the person in the video. So if suddenly they just like you, they think you're cool, you're funny or whatever it is, that's half of it right there, or probably more than half. You can have 10 people catching fish all day, but if 2 of them are cool and interesting and funny, they're going to be watching them.
Oh, yeah. The personality shines through, yeah.
Exactly.
And the likability and, yeah.
Likability.
Yeah.
So it's, when you start out, get all your content first and then start your channel later. Like even get 6 months worth of content.
Yeah, okay.
Pump one out every week, same time, same day, and make sure that you say those keywords. If you like this, guys, make sure you give us a big thumbs up, comment and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next week. Same time, Monday night, 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in their head and they'll know that a video is coming out at that time, same day, every single week. It's familiarity.
Yeah. That gets them in, draws them in, yeah, and the consistency of it, yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point, man. It's like when I first started the podcast, I wanted to be doing one every week, and I quickly worked out that there's so much goes on behind the scenes, of putting this together and the audio syncing and everything you got to do with the edit. And you've got all your promotional material, get it off to your sound designer, you get that back. That takes certain days. Then you got the video portion of it that you got to edit and sync together. And just it's a whole dynamic that takes a lot longer when you got full-time jobs, you're doing other things outside of it, acting, filmmaking as well. It's just, and then I quickly realized, oh shit, okay, I can get one out every month. That seems to be realistic at this point until I can, start pumping out a lot more material and streamline everything, because there's a teething process process when you first started out.
Yeah. Don't feel bad.
No.
I started off once every month, even a 2-month break between videos. You know, I didn't know anything about algorithms. I don't even know if I'd heard the word algorithm.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad about that. The great thing is these days you can chat with other YouTubers.
Yeah.
And you can research algorithms, and you can check it out on YouTube, all about algorithms and, you know, to do with Facebook posts and keywords is a big one.
Yeah, I know.
You know, the old SEOs. So if you want to go, you know, real far, you can go SEOs. And keywords is a big one. Like there's 2 different approaches that you can take with your channel. You can be 100% truthful in describing what's going on in your title. So it might be 5 or 6 words and you're just spot on. Or you can have, what's the other word for teasers or
Wow, yeah, short clip, teasers, whatever you want to. Yeah.
like as in the title where they're going, oh, wow, you should see this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're not saying, hey, I went out and caught a 1 metre barramundi. Hey, check out this. This is an insane, amazing fish. So people, like you've got this thing as like, should I go that way? Or shall I say, hey, I caught a massive 1 metre record barramundi, for example. So I was advised to go on the teasing thing. It's like fishing the best area in Australia.
Yeah.
Instead of saying
to draw them in straight away.
To draw them in.
Yeah.
Another huge, so you can go that way. So keywords, fishing, best, whatever it is, record.
Yeah.
So you can.
So they get it in the search title, and it jumps up. But yeah, the algorithm thing is huge, and that's something that I found out as well, because obviously you're starting off and you want to share it around. Social media is generally your best option of getting people watching, and I found out that like Facebook and YouTube were in this like streaming battle kind of thing with their videos, and that if you share a YouTube clip to Facebook, there's only like 30% of your people, followers, are actually going to see that video, because straight away they slam YouTube's their algorithm right down, and you don't see any of it. Whereas if you post like upload a video to Facebook, so many more people are going to see it. 100% of people plus are all going to see it that way. And it's like, oh, okay. If you didn't know that, like you didn't do the research to find that out, you're like, why am I not getting any views on this? You know, like, and it's a funny thing to figure out, but the algorithms are so key. And yeah, I'm at the very amateur stage. I will humbly admit that over there. And that's something that I would like to focus more attention on. But I think it's also, like you say, I need to talk to other YouTubers and people like yourself that have been successful with it and gone through these things over a number of years to figure out what actually works for them. And, you know, it's about community and helping each other out, right?
Mate, that info is gold. What you just said there, that's not amateur info. That's a guy that has really looked into it, or someone's told him or whatever. That is so spot on. If you share the direct link to Facebook, Facebook will kill your reach.
Yeah. 100%.
Absolutely. Destroy it.
I was surprised. I had no idea it was like that, but it makes sense now once I think about it. Like, because I've done it before and I'm like, well, isn't this getting like many views, you know, this way? And then you'll just, I'll post a video and it'll get like 800 to 1,000 like just clicks on it, views just on the little clip. And I'm like, well, why isn't that translating over to my little YouTube videos that I'm doing, where I'm getting 60 to 100, you know, people plus whatever it is, you know? And I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense until you look it up and you're like, oh, okay.
Well, there's ways around it.
Yeah, I'm all ears.
The first was, I was speaking to a mate of mine from Yak Hunters Australia. He's quite a big page as well.
Yeah.
We're going, how are we going to fool Facebook? How are we going to trick them?
Yeah.
Because they're assholes. So we said, okay, firstly, instead of posting direct, we'd put up a photo or a thumbnail. So those things that you see when you scroll down in YouTube, there's pictures are called thumbnails.
Yeah.
Put that thumbnail on the Facebook, okay? And then you can either put the link underneath, right? Or you can go to the next level and avoid that and put the link in the comments.
Yeah, okay.
Just go, hey, check out this new video, guys. You've got an image there. Link in comments.
Yeah.
So we tried that.
Yeah.
Not sure if it improved the situation. I really think Facebook had got some sophisticated bot that just anything to do with YouTube, it destroys it.
Yeah.
So the next step that we took after that was maybe we could do the biddy, like BTY, I think it is, where you put the YouTube link up into BTY or biddy, which shortens that link.
Yeah.
And then post the biddy link to see if Facebook doesn't recognize it's a YouTube link.
Yeah.
We tried that, but then what we found was because it wasn't a YouTube recognizable link, people were going, that looks sus. Looks like a scam link. I don't know if I'll hit it.
Don't want to click on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to sort of write in a biddy link, it's called, make sure you hit it, guys. It'll take you straight to the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So there's another tactic that we use. The ultimate way of doing it, I think, if people can be bothered watching your videos or they follow you or they're interested, is putting a teaser up, which I did recently.
Yeah.
And I seen that you dropped a video of your show in there and it had 800 and something odd views. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Put your little teaser in and then put a title across the screen to watch full episode or see full episode, and then put the YouTube logo, or you can put on YouTube at CoastfishTV coming across your video.
Yeah.
So people are watching it. Make sure your teaser's good. Like you show something before you hook the fish up, or you just hook the fish but you're not showing what it is and you're going crazy. Oh my God, I've hooked a massive fish. And then bang, cut it. Check out full episode on YouTube at CoastfishTV. So people will go, oh, is that all I've got to see? I've got to go to YouTube.
Yeah.
CoastfishTV, bang, they watch it.
Yeah.
And I did that recently and I was just over double the amount of views that I had in previous videos where I couldn't be bothered doing video teasers.
Yeah, yeah.
So it did work.
Yeah, well, I think it's also like the attention span of people these days too is very, limited. And it's like what I found out with doing a podcast, but it's like the real podcast people, they don't mind like I'll listen to several Joe Rogan, a lot of different podcasts, like probably 4 or 5 podcasts, different podcasts a week, all the episodes, and they're like, the Rogan ones are like 3 hours, like I've got that attention span. I want to. Took me a while to get to it, but once I did, I just has taken over my whole thing. Like listening in the car, at the gym, like it's just taken over. I don't even listen to music hardly ever anymore. And but yeah, that's the thing, the attention span of people. That's why you need to make those little clips that feature, and that drives the people to hopefully eventually listen to your podcast and listen to the full episode of your podcast, and then get hooked and look forward to it every week, month, day, whatever you're putting them out. But I found that worked, that just uploading the clean little snippet video to say Facebook, and that was still getting the reach of those 800,000 people or whatever. And then I would just have a link, full episode, and have the YouTube bit link, that you can get, put that on there, and that was still having the click through rate. So I don't think that slammed it down in the algorithm when you put it up that way, because you were using your core video at the start and using Facebook to do it, Okay. So, but yeah, it's just an interesting dynamic, isn't it, that you got to work out. People with social media whiz, I mean, you pay for those kind of people these days that can help draw the traffic that you want to your page and things like that. And that's someone that I need to sit down and talk to grow it. But the main thing is about just getting the content out and getting it to a high production value, high audio quality as being a podcast. That was my number one thing at the start. And getting good quality content, good people on like yourself that have got an interesting story about what they're doing. And that's where you start and just keep going from there.
Cheers to that. Yeah, cool.
But yeah, man, I mean, the show itself. So basically you're going out fishing a lot of the times. I've seen a couple of the episodes and things like that. And there's a passion for you, obviously, is fishing and filmmaking and acting, which is where we've met and worked on films together before. Yeah. But so what really drove that show and you wanting to do it from the start?
Fishing. Well, boredom.
Yeah.
I bought a camera, a Panasonic Handycam, and I had some cash at the time, and I decided to go to Thailand with my brother and a couple of mates, and I just wanted to film everything.
Yeah.
Before that I was doing amateur photography, had a DSLR, and just filming interests me. And when I got back to where I was living, in the Redlands, there was a camera sitting there and I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And I had a tripod and I thought, well, I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to set it up on the tripod, hit record and start casting. and catch some fish and see what happens. So I did that. Do you remember Windows Movie Maker?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going back.
Take it way back.
Yeah. I just decided to edit a couple of clips on there. It was pretty funny. Like a crappy computer and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's cool. And I just love the creation. It kept me busy. It gave me something to do.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, well, maybe I could keep doing that and getting the content. Just before that, though, I decided to look into acting as well. I just had this creative thing that just exploded. And it was out of boredom. I wasn't working. I was unemployed at the time. And I was battling stress and anxiety and stuff like that. So it was a big battle. And I think once you hit sort of the bottom tier of yourself, really they say the only way is up, and that's so true.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything. I didn't have any aspirations to do anything. I didn't know what I was going to do or what I wanted to do, but I knew I felt creative. So I actually met a fella that had a really cool camera when we were filming one of the little short films that we were doing. And just during the break, I showed him on YouTube, on my original channel, some of the fishing stuff I did, with a crappy Panasonic. And he looks at it and he says, "Oh, that's cool. I reckon we could do something here." And I'm like, "Really?" And he had a pro camera.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'll come along and I'll film it for you. We've got big mics and stuff like that." And that's what we did. And the funny thing is, he had no idea. He thought maybe I was fishing off a pontoon or a jetty or whatnot.
Yeah.
We were walking through mud.
To get to the spot, yeah.
Yeah, with
that's part of it. It's
$5,000 cameras.
Yeah.
$5,000, man. Big camera. He's like, "Dude, I'm seriously walking through this." I said, "We've got to get to the edge of the water, through the mangroves, and that's the only way we're going to get there."
Yeah.
And that's when we filmed our first sort of pro-looking episode.
Yeah.
Which worked out really well. It looked fantastic. And then bang, I thought, once you get to a certain standard of filming, and I edited this and I downloaded, forget Windows Movie Maker. I went Cyberlink Power Director because I did a lot of research on the easiest and the best because, I'm not a big tech head.
Yeah.
Cyberlink Power Director, and I started editing this stuff together, and I put it on YouTube, and then bang, people just said, "Wow, we love this. We want to see more." And I thought, my God, I've got a purpose. And that was cool. That was a defining moment for me that maybe this is something I can do long term and see where it goes. I didn't know about monetizing videos. I didn't have any of that. It was just, I just want to do this because I love it. Yeah. It's so much fun. I love it.
Just where all the good stuff starts. Yeah. The passion for it. Yeah.
And hanging out with these guys with similar interests. They're creatives, they've got cameras, they've got mics. Yeah. And I thought, and I felt like I belonged because I'd moved from the Redlands to the Gold Coast and virtually didn't know anyone because I needed to get away from the Redlands to sort of rejuvenate myself. And then I started meeting all these people in the film industry, all these creatives, and I felt like I can relate to these people, and you just felt it.
Yeah.
And I thought
100%. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
It was like this brotherhood thing going on, like the bikies.
It's a weird camaraderie. Yeah. But you feel like you're part of that world, and like you can say and do what you would normally like be a little candid on doing around other people. Yeah. And it's just like you're fully accepted because we're all a bit weird, we're all a bit eccentric. We're in touch with whatever it is you vibe together, Yeah.
I think so. Eccentrics is a word, and weird is definitely the one.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
It's like, the genetics of being a creative. I think it's there, and you've got a lot of creatives have this really interesting persona about them. I think, and this is stuff I've thought about in the past. I might be getting off the tier a little bit here, but creatives, they see their spectrum of seeing and vision is big. Okay. I don't want to compare it to people that aren't creatives, but I just want to say that they have this wide spectrum of vision, of seeing things, and they know how to sort of see that and turn it into something. It's like, that's what makes, awesome DOPs awesome, or awesome cameramen, or, entertainers. And, I felt like maybe I was on that spectrum. and I could see these extra things. I mean, I've never been trained in it, but it's something that I just felt and I had to exploit.
Yeah.
And I did, and then it gave me a purpose, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you're tapping into, like, it's the imagination that you have in your mind, and you, like you spoke about, you can see on this broad spectrum, and you can just envision things that, yeah, I want to say normal people, but it's a weird way of saying it. But it's just like when you're creative, you have that other part of your brain that you're using that maybe is shut off by other people, and they're just like, oh, I don't even know how you think up these things. But you're tapping into something, and it's like tapping into the void, and you're pulling it from somewhere. It's coming in, and you just get this direct line of channel, like computing from up here, and you're bringing it in, and then you're just able to formulate it in your mind in such a colorful and artistic way. And then from there, you got to get it to paper, and then from there, you get it to the visual medium, say through filming or however you want to do it. And it's same with any artist, you know, like, and they're putting it down to a canvas, you know, you're pulling it from somewhere, and it's what Jeremy spoke about when we were, on the last podcast we did. And he kept using that word void, which is where I'm getting it from right now. But it's so true. Like, you're kind of tapping into something up here, but it's just translating in your mind to something else. And then you create from there. But
it's something that you're not necessarily taught.
Yeah,
it's
no.
just there.
I don't think you can. Like, you can develop ways to tap into it better, you know, and it's like what you do with acting, like you're using your real life emotions and you're substituting it and you're tapping into that emotional baggage, if you will, that you've got from the past. And
perfectly said.
You're tapping into it, to putting it into a different medium. Yeah. And that is coming across as art, you know, and you're making a film with it. But it's coming from somewhere, you know, and it's coming from within you, but it's also coming in from somewhere else. And it's all about tapping into it and putting it to something,
it's
producing
like an artist or a serial killer.
Yeah. Well,
like, you know, you've got the genetic predisposition for a certain mental illness or certain trait to be a serial killer. And then you've got your environmental factors where it's the way you're brought up by your parents. Exactly, and when everything comes together, you become a serial killer. Yeah. It's a crazy sort of comparison. But then if we've got these genetic sort of influences in us to make us creative, and then we've got our experiences on top of that, whether it be family, friends, that shape our life that shape us to get to experience this really wide spectrum of emotions. I mean, I thought about it today. Actually, there's a couple of child actors and actresses in a particular family, and I won't say who they are, but those young kids from a young age, got to experience tragedy. Yeah. You know, with their mum. The ex-boyfriend came into the house and pulled a shotgun, almost blew her arm off. These young kids are extraordinary actors and actresses. They got to experience from a very young age trauma and the spectrum of terror, of sadness, of anger, which translates to what they do on the screen, because they know how to tap into that because they've experienced it. If you're in a box and you don't experience all these emotions, you'll probably find it hard to get there. And I think, you know, my life was, I guess from a young age, was pretty tough as a teenager. Some ways was just the way I was brought up. Love my parents though. They were very kind to me. But I also experienced other things in life which exposed me to various emotions that probably allowed me to get there as an actor. Yeah. Whether it be, you know, great sadness or great anger or whatever it might be, and to put that onto screen. I think exposure in life from a young age, I mean, look at Robin Williams, the comedian. You saw him as an extremely funny man. Yeah. He's had a tragic life. So he's experienced that spectrum. So he knows how to get there and feel the greatest sadness and despair, but also to be one of the funniest guys on the planet. Yeah. And I think it's almost work experience. It's like, man, if you really want to be successful and you really want to go there, life experience is a fucking great way of getting there.
Yeah, it's everything.
And it's not always nice.
Yeah. That's it. And I think I know the family that you were speaking about before, which we don't need to name names or anything, but they're very good young actors.
They are.
And the mother, she's actress as well, right? Isn't she? Or she?
I don't think she really got into it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't think she needs to. Her kids are so good. You know. But she's definitely a good woman.
Yeah.
A great woman.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about because she's sort of a friend.
But like you say, the life experiences of it is everything. And they kind of say that to you, like, you got to get out there and live, you know, to be able to portray these things on screen. Because you've got to be able to tap into something. You can't just, like, there's so many different techniques when it comes to acting that, you know, like you could throw a stone in the pond and you're going to hit something, you know, and be able to talk about that. But they come down to like a fundamental thing where you're tapping into life experiences and you're substituting that within the scene to evoke the emotion. And therefore, then you're creating something with your partner that you're acting across or by yourself, what have you. And then you're capturing it, right? And then it kind of goes from something organic from there. But it's funny because you're using something materialistic or emotional, whatever in your past to get to that point. So it's like you're kind of faking it, but you're not, because then you're capturing the real living moment there. And it's something different every time, you know.
You say it so well.
I've had a little bit of time to practice it, but talking about this stuff. But well, that's it. And it's like I can get that across in my mind because I can tap into what I'm thinking, and I can explain it in this way where I hope that people can understand what I'm sort of getting at. But there's a lot of people in the creative realm that really, really struggle to put whatever's coming in here and able to verbalize it to someone else, you know? And like you find that with a lot of directors that are like really fucking brilliant, but it's like they struggle to translate that to advice to an actor to get that out of the scene, you know? And that's like, it's what makes a good and a bad director, you know, not necessarily good and bad actually, but someone that's able to
be brutal.
And channel that into that artistic form and really get the translation across to you to understand. And that just comes with experience, right? On-set experience and working with actors a lot of times to get to that. I mean, I've only directed, you know, a few things in my life too, but it's an interesting concept to jump on that side of things as opposed to being on camera, you know, but you learn so much from doing all those other things, like helping out on set, like on camera, or just watching in sound department, or if you're writing, like it can really aid your acting performances as well, because you're seeing different levels and the subtext behind it, and you understand why people put certain things in scripts and able to tap into it a lot better and understand what like the writer wants from his general concept and where you want to go and take from there. And they're capturing whatever you get to at that point, because they don't know what you're going to do. They've got an idea of what they want, but able to get that across to you, and just kind of the best directors kind of let you do their thing, you know, like, and then tweak from there.
They'll
you know,
tweak.
I
was thinking about that this morning, actually, when I was driving around Wellington Point. I was thinking about like an example of exactly what you said. Like, say in the script, it's got the name of the character, and then it's got how, like, the emotion suggestion. So it could be, you know, furiously angry or angry or angrily said, and then it has your lines underneath. It's your interpretation of anger level. So, you know, if you were to say you had 5 levels of anger, so you can have 1 being very, I'm really, you know, or 5 being outrageously angry. I'm so angry. The trick is interpreting that level, and obviously working it, if you're, you know, speaking with a different actor, is bouncing off of them and flirting with them. And, you know, if they're over the top angry, you've got to sort of know how to
where you come in at that.
It's like, you know, what reflection to give back. So you've got, say, 5 levels. It's like one of the things I've seen in the past, so I don't want to be critical of any other actors, because, I mean, I'm not the best in the world, but say, for example, they're verbalizing level 4 anger. So they're like really, their voice is verbalizing a 4, but their eyes and face are only giving a 2. So it's like they're not
pushing the emotion, they're playing the emotion rather than tapping into something.
It's not matching. The trick is if you're going to verbalize a level 4 of anger, make sure your face matches that verbalization level. And that's my theory behind getting that authenticity, truthfulness, and believability. in what you do. And I like to underplay my role. Like I like to underplay my emotions. And I do that because it's safe for me, unless obviously, you know, the director, and I do depend on the director a lot. If they say, listen, Andy, I need you to be really, and I just did a shoot last week or the week before playing a husband, domestic violence sort of piece that is going to be played around all the schools around Australia.
Yeah.
So I had this little chick as my wife, and he said, look, I just want to make you super scary, and that's what we need from you, and da-da-da, and I did it. And then I said, how scary? Because, you know, how aggressive? Do we want to scare kids watching it?
Yeah.
Because it's going to young kids in schools to say how bad domestic violence is. And she said, no, that's a good point. I don't want you to be scary, as in when the kids are watching it, they're walking away wanting to cry or traumatised.
Or don't want to watch because they're trying to get something from it.
Yeah, because they're getting smashed by this over-the-top angry emotion.
Yeah.
So I sort of levelled it off on about a 3, and I know sort of where to put it, and I match my physical movement and my expressions with level 3 of verbalisation of anger. I mean, just between you and me and everyone else, I felt terrible. She's only a small wife. And after the take, I was sort of, I had to give her a hug and I go, you okay? Like, and she sort of smiled and she goes, yeah. She goes, that was good.
Yeah.
And I said, I feel a little, that sort of rattled me a bit.
Yeah. Because you don't want to be that brute.
No,
that kind
I'm not like that. I'm the total opposite.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why, sort of sometimes I enjoy playing.
Yeah. Those things so outside of yourself. Yeah. Tapping into that something that you can't do in real life. And we spoke about a little bit before we started shooting, is that's kind of, and to me, man, I related to that exactly what you said, is that because you grow up wanting to do these things, you know, you want to be a spy, you want to be a CIA
porn
agent,
star with
porn
you?
star, whatever.
Porn star, yeah.
Ambitions.
Yeah, X videos, damn good, going deep.
That's it. But yeah, you want to do these things so outside of yourself that you can't necessarily do in real life, but you get to tap into those things and do it on screen. And it's such a thrilling avenue to go down. And it's fantastic. And it's one of the reasons why I gravitated towards the acting and the film game, is to do those things, you know, because I have a lot of those ambitions in life that I want to do that, not saying porn star, but, you know, all that stuff. And it's just, man, it's just so thrilling to be able to do that, you know, and like, you're like, well,
what have you done
within myself?
Like,
you know?
what's the most extravagant out from yourself
that
you've done, that they've said you're doing this and you realise, God, I haven't done this in real life, but man, this is insane.
Good question. There's probably, I'm trying to think now what would be the crazier one. Man, that's a real good question. I don't know. I've done a lot. Like, I get the general perception of me, like, is that I'm a bit of a playboy and stuff like that, you know, but it's not.
You are a pretty boy.
But it's not actually, like, it's not me, you know, I'm actually not like that at all. And so I've got a lot of those characters where I've played, hey, like, you know, like just screwing around with the dude's wife. Is that a bit of wax? Yeah.
Sort of bit of wax going down the chest?
That was fun.
From it was Alpha Mastery?
Yeah, Alpha Mastery. That would have been the last time we saw each other, right?
I know.
It was when we were shooting the Jeremy's feature film. Yeah.
The master himself, Jeremy Reese Hill. I love the guy.
That's awesome.
How talented is Jeremy? Like, and I'm critical of myself as well as other people when it comes to the final product of a film, and I sort of pick it apart, but I do it to myself. Okay, so it's not just me being a sort of a bully on anyone else. But when I saw Jeremy's film, I'm just thinking, is this guy serious? Like, he can really pull that off. It was like everything, like the shots, the music, the almost Quentin Tarantino feel to the music.
Well, that's one of his huge
to the film
inspirations. Yeah.
I just thought, my God, where did this guy come from? And I just knew from that point, if he knocks on my door or sends me a text message and all it says is, do you want to be my next film, without knowing anything else, I'm like,
I'm in.
Yes.
Yeah. I completely agree, man.
Like how amazing he's unbelievable. When I first met him, I just thought he was sort of some kind of, and he'll probably be watching this. So I love you, Jez. Just some kind of New Zealand sort of punky guy and, maybe a bit of a drinker. But then he started talking and I'm just listening to the guy and I'm like, holy crap, like his IQ must be 130.
Yeah.
And his vision and that. And I was just like, I was taken right in. And when I seen him on set, I'm like, I'm sort of in awe. And then when I saw the final film, Alpha Maschi, I'm just like, you kidding?
It's impressive, eh? Like,
are you kidding me?
Because you're behind the scenes and you know, like what the makeup of this scene was and whatever, and like, where we shot it and what we had to pull to get this off the ground. But then you see the final product, you're like, oh shit, the production value of that and what you're pulling off from where we're shooting it. It's just like, wow, okay, man. Like that's the thing about tapping into that thing. Like he's got the imagination to think it up, the ability and the skill to be able to transcribe that to paper or, type it up in script form. Then the vision to see it and how he wants it shot, how, the scene, the colors, everything. With a lot of other people like the DOP, Jake, he was awesome on that.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Jake,
and all those,
he's mad.
Yeah. And just like, set design and Shiley, like, setting out a lot of those things as well.
We can't forget anyone else because like it was a team and he knew he knew who to choose in the team and each one had this really special talent. And when you just put all this jigsaw together, it was just a scarily strong production team that made that film.
Yeah. And that's it. And that's the brilliant part is what you were thinking about before. You're in this other realm when you're in the filmmaking community or the creative realm. And it's just like all these people coming together to make something awesome. And they're using all their skills and we're all just combining it as one organism that eventually makes a film and that people are going to see. It's a truly magical thing, to be involved in. And that's why I was just like, oh man, I found my crowd, when I fell into sort of the acting stuff and then got so passionate about it and just going at it constantly. But you meet so many people that you just get along with and click like that. And you're just like, oh man, these are my people. That's weird to go through life when you don't know those things or you don't find that crowd, and there's a lot of people that are loners and things like that, but they're generally sometimes the most creative people though as well, but feeling comfortable to tap into that stuff is just is a great vulnerability within yourself to let yourself actually experience something. And create something like that. And like you're putting it out there to be judged, as well, which is another tough part about performing. And we spoke before that we're both
makes me cringe.
Can be shy guys, and going and doing this thing that's so far from being shy is that you're acting in front of a lot of people or as you said earlier, well, we haven't said on the podcast, but you used to be a DJ as well, which we can get into a bit with the backstory. But
you want to go there?
We'll go there.
You can.
But I think what you were saying before is that's one thing that I haven't played that I want to play is a serial killer. Something along those lines. I haven't done that. I don't think, I've really, I've got a lot of detective roles, police, army, things like that, which is cool. I really love playing
I'll give you a
those
tip.
roles.
All you do is you just go, hello, Clarice. That's it. And just stare.
It's been taken, hasn't it? Has that line been taken?
Yes. You're wearing Nevia's cream, but not today.
Got the lotion.
Yes, you can play that guy. Yeah, you'd look good for that.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah.
Is he the Red Dragon, is he?
Yeah. No, he's Buffalo Bill.
Oh, he is too. Yeah. I'd love to. I really want to do that at some point. But yeah. But so, well, I mean, okay, and that's... The last time we shot, we were doing the hot wax scene, which I have spoken about on the podcast before, was where I got the hot wax poured on my balls, and you were the undercover detective, or no, you weren't undercover actually.
Agent Kruger.
You were the bad seed in the police department that actually got us shot. Just a spoiler alert. Got us killed eventually. You got away with everything, but you walk in on me and my partner in crime, Anthea David.
I wasn't expecting this. It's like we've got the biggest bust in history going down. I'm going to be waiting there. We're waiting for their pants to come down or something like that.
Catch them with their pants down.
Catch them with it. Trust me, I'm good at that. It's like I'm
getting flashbacks already. That's the exact voice you're putting on. Yeah.
Yeah, but I sort of looked at that scene and I thought, God, Jeremy saved it. Because it took me a few takes to get those lines down. I remember you were like, no, dude. And I'm just like, who is this guy? He's like, who is this? And just I wasn't cranking the lines out, and I was worried about that. And I thought, God, what's Jeremy going to think? Because you've got to do justice to the film. Yeah. At the end of the day, man, you got to get it right. You got to perform. But then I thought, God, he'll find something good in there and he'll put it down. And that's what he did.
That's what he did. Yeah.
That's what he did, So,
there was even...
Thank you, Jez.
Yeah, I know he does well. But that's the thing. There is a lot... Well, it depends if you got the privilege of having that amount of takes, like it isn't always the case on an indie set. But we had another one. Remember the park scene? That was the... When you're smoking as well, and you're smoking too much, you got a fucking head spin.
And then, we did 18 takes.
Oh man, but it was such a long-winded monologue that you had to do, and we're at midnight, 1 a.m. or something, in the middle of Southport. I think
I had to keep lighting up.
Yeah,
I had to keep lighting up Rolly, smoking over and over and over again. We had 18 takes, and I felt okay at first. And then I was sort of getting to the 15th, 16th take, and I thought, shit, I'm feeling really dizzy here. I'm not feeling that crash. Yeah. But then I pumped out the lines and whatnot. And then they'd finally finished, and I felt like I was poisoned, like by arsenic.
Yeah.
I'd taken on that much nicotine. I felt I was going to die. And I sat down and I just felt it was almost seasick, nauseous.
Yeah.
And I was ready to go, guys, take me to hospital. And I'm not a whinger, but I sat there and sort of hit it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so not good right now. And I started shaking, and then I'm like, no, still don't say anything. It's hard, because everyone's depending on you to get it done, and we're all there fighting the same battle, But apart from obviously not getting the head spin of the nicotine, dude, it was insane.
It was hard to watch.
It was a nicotine overdose.
Yeah,
that's what I've never felt. It was
before. Such a long-winded monologue scene. You guys did awesome to get it done, but
I actually got those lines right, I think, for the first time.
Yeah. First time. So, yeah, man, it's great. I love that. Cool. We spoke about it. We're like, man, we need people to see that, because he got it back. He had it sold to a distribution company. We won't speak too much on it, but he explained on the last podcast, and got all the rights and everything back because they weren't exactly playing ball properly. But I'm like, man, they got to see that film, eh? It's a great film.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, I loved every minute of that. That was one of the best times of my life.
I'm waiting for the next text message for his next film. Seriously, it's please, if I could just do Jeremy Reese Hill films for the rest of my life, I'm happy.
Pretty damn happy. Yeah.
I don't need an agent. I'm just happy to go with that. You know?
Nah, he's terrific, man. He really is. But
but playing Agent Kruger, it was sort of cool because I was a corrupt cop. The good thing is I had sort of real life experience in Adelaide because I was brought up in Adelaide. It was Port Adelaide. I don't know if you heard of Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
Magpies, Port Powers, AFL. It was a tough town, a tough county, as they see in America, or district. And it was sort of middle class, and they had a few rich houses around there. And I was brought up, and my parents left for Queensland in the early 90s, and I was very protected as a kid. When my mates wanted to go out fishing, I would say, can I go out with them, Dad? And my dad, I still remember it, and I love my dad. And he said, no, you're not going out with your mates. And it was sort of 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was after school and just go for a bit of a fish for a couple of hours. And I said, yeah. And they were on their bikes on the front lawn sort of looking at me, and we had the front door of the house open, and they were like, well, can Andy come with us? And he goes, he's not coming with you. And da-da-da. My dad's a big guy, and I was scared as a little teenager. And he goes, no, you're going to be tired soon. I said, Dad, I'm not tired. And he goes, you are tired, mate. You're not going out with them. And I still remember that. That stuff stays with you.
Yeah.
So my life, even though I was very loved, and we did some great things. We went to America, we went to Fiji, we had lots of holidays. My parents I was the first kid, I was very protected as a kid. So So, that's something I always appreciated. I was sort of kept in that cocoon or that scenario.
Nurturing environment.
Yeah, that's it. But then I was very shy socially. I was a shy kid and I was a golden child and I didn't do anything wrong and tried not to anyway. And then suddenly one day they go, we're moving to Queensland. And my heart sunk. They had for personal reasons, they just said, we can't stay here anymore. And I would have been just 18, I think, and I had my first girlfriend at the time and I was in love for the first time. I don't know if you remember how good love is for the first time, but it's amazing. I remember those cool days. I'm sort of feeling it. And I thought, I can't leave my girlfriend. And they left. And suddenly this guy that as a kid and as a teenager, all these years that have been, you can't go do this, you can't go do that, suddenly had all this freedom.
Yeah.
And it was weird. And I wasn't streetwise. I was very naive.
Yeah.
I only like hanging out with one or two people, maybe going fishing, maybe jumping on the bike, going for a ride, just checking things out. I was always fascinated with nature and discovering things. Suddenly I had to move out into my first unit. I moved into a unit in a very low socio-economic area in Port Adelaide. Other people in the units were drug dealers and you name it.
Into some shady stuff, yeah.
Into some shady stuff. And me being naive and not knowing anything, my concept of right and wrong was there. But I was very easily influenced.
Yeah.
Would hang around. I just wanted to maybe make friends. And I did. They invited me over, come around, mate. I'd sit there and they'd pull out a bong. So I'd sit there and he'd go, yeah, smoke it, mate. Jump into it. And I felt special. I thought people want to know me.
Yeah.
And I did, and I started doing all this kind of stuff. And then I worked at Just Jeans. I think it was called West Coast Jeans or something like that. And then it went East Coast or something like that in Adelaide, in the Rundle Mall in the city. And then I'd meet more people and then I started training at the gym and I got a really good shape and I felt like, I've got all this independence. And then I met this couple, a guy and a girl, and they said, we're from Perth. I said, cool. What are you doing here? We're just holidaying. We race Porsches back in Perth. We've got a Porsche here. I said, cool. He goes, what do you do? And I said, and this is when I just started DJing in the clubs, like emceeing on stage, master of ceremonies. It was like this flower that had been a closed thing that suddenly just opened up, had all this freedom. Consequences, what were they? And I hung out with this guy and I said, look, man, I can get you into any club in Adelaide. No worries. Easy done. Now, this guy was fast talking. He was slick. He had heaps of money. He was going, cool, man, which nightclub? I said, Heaven. We'll go to the Heaven nightclub. Got to the bar. He pulls out a roll of cash. All these chicks are hanging around him. He's just smooth. He had awesome clothes. He goes, mate, here's a roll of cash. Go buy yourself and the ladies a drink. And I'm like, cool. And we hung out. So we got to know each other and we got on really well. It wasn't till one day he said, man, if you want to make some cash, I'll help you. I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm in, ready to go. And I started feeling like a, tough man.
Yeah.
This thing that wasn't me. So we did a couple of things and I don't want to incriminate myself, but made a bit of cash from it and then we'd make other cash here and there. Went to the airport one day, the Adelaide airport. I was to hire a car. We're going to drive to Melbourne and we're going to do some business. I remember the time he walked up to me and I'll say his name, Jake. And I'll say his last name because I haven't been able to find him anywhere on the net, Jake Kaznowski. He came up to me and he says, bro, I've got to go. And I'm like, what? I'm standing at the airport ready to get a hire car and we're going to go to Melbourne and drive it to Melbourne. I said, oh, okay, cool. And he took off. And there were people walking around the airport. And I thought, well, maybe I should leave too because I feel something funny's going on here.
Yeah.
And I started walking towards the big doors that open up to the airport. As I walked out the big doors, next minute from behind me, I got grabbed from behind, hardcore, put in a headlock basically around my neck, and these cars were just screeching in front of me. And I'm like in shock, like as you can imagine. I don't know what was going on. I knew sort of, I thought your brain's computing at this moment.
Something's not quite right.
Something's not right.
Yeah.
And the cars pulled up, guns came out, and I got thrown across the bonnet, the front bonnet, held down, my face smashed into the bonnet. That was fantastic. And then handcuffed and thrown in the back of the car. And I had these people in suits, like this woman screaming at me, going, "Where the fuck is Jake? You are fucked, mate. You're going away for a long time, buddy." And for the first time I felt scared. It was like, my God, like what have I got myself into? And then that we pulled up to a phone box. They held the phone to my ear. They said, "Ring his number," because we had mobiles back then, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Rung his number. He answered his mobile phone and he goes, "They've got you, haven't they?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Tell them a fucking Pizza Hut right on the main road, Henley Road." I'm like, "Okay, all right, see you, bro." He goes, "Bye." He's at Pizza Hut, Henley Road. And they go, all units, all units, all units. Well, it just went madhouse. To cut a long story short, he ended up on the TV show on Channel 7, Australia's Most Wanted. And this was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
He was one of the most wanted men in Australia, con men, attempted murder of a police officer, fraud, and a whole host of scallywag behaviour.
Yeah.
As Chopper says.
It's got a rap sheet, yeah.
It's got a rap sheet. So, you know, I didn't know the extent of what this guy was up to, but I got drawn in by his personality and I guess the making money and the rush that you would get from all that kind of stuff. It was...
Well, you're vulnerable and impressionable. That's
I was.
what they sort of target though, right?
Yeah. Well, the detective knew it. Like I got locked up.
Yeah.
I didn't go to jail.
They were trying the scare tactics on you to get you to give up any information on your mate.
Yeah. Well, the like I was in the cell in Adelaide, the main sort of lock-up area, and I'll admit it, I was crying. I was fucking scared. I thought, man, I don't know what's happening to me. I was going to jail or something, and the detective came in and said, "Listen, mate, you know, whatever you're doing, we're aware of, and this life isn't for you. Do you really want to be there? Do you really want to go to jail, mate? Because I know that the guy that you've dealt with is one of the most influential con men in the country, and he's wanted all over the country. Is this a life you want to live?" And I remember just going, "No, like I don't want to be like this." And he goes, "That's all right. Yeah, we don't want to put you in jail, but you need to talk to us." You know, and it was fucking frightening, mate. Like I was, you know, so, and this, I'll say that this went on for months with Jake, you know, and things that I regret doing that, you know, never hurt anyone. But it's amazing how you can get caught up in interesting crime figures. Yeah. And that's what he was. And I guess the whole point is acting. You know, when I get chosen for these roles, it's more than just I get to play it again. I get to relive it in some way. So when I do what I do, I feel honoured. When someone says, "You want to play that guy?" It's like I'm reliving the past. Yeah. But not in a traumatic way. It's like it's a past I'll never go back to. Yeah. But I get to do it again.
But also you're wanted to do something like you spoke about before. You're like, "Oh, you know, this is the first time I felt important." You know, these people are like interested in me. They want to teach me stuff. They want me to do things with them. Like, this is so cool. I haven't really lived like this before. And being left in your own devices to sort of figure that out as well, good and bad decisions that you make, you feel important about it. And, you know, they prey on the vulnerable, obviously, sometimes.
The bikies do it.
Yeah. They get the people that they need to be naive as well, because it helps. The little they know, the less that things can go wrong, right, down the track. But also, probably that stems another thing when, I want you to play this role, you know, that evokes that emotion back in you that you're like, yeah, okay, I'm wanted and I'm accepted again. And I'm in this community where we're all like loved, you know, and we're all fighting for the same thing. And then you're also tapping into something that you don't really want to be, but that you've lived before. And that's the life experiences that you use as an actor to portray these characters. And you are very good at playing some of those deeper, darker roles though. That's the ones that I've seen you know, like that corrupted agent, like you were a detective in the same precinct as us. Yeah. But you were really like, and it comes across, you're like, man, this dude's he's a bit of a piece of shit, you know, like, you know, you're seeing it because that's what the role that you're playing, you know, but you play it really well, but you're not that, you know,
work experience.
Yeah. Work experience.
Real life experience, I guess, you know,
crazy.
Like, it's sort of all ended. Here's one more quick story, not as drawn out, but still, you know, interesting. I was DJing in a club, the Synagogue nightclub in Adelaide, and I was well known by then in the clubs, and once again, feeling accepted, feeling like I've achieved something. I'm no longer this scared little guy. I'm out there. I'm making people feel good, or whatever it was that I was thinking at the time. Got to know a lot of Italians. I remember, you know, when I got off stage, some of my Italian friends come up to me and they said, "Hey, mate, I'm going to show you, introduce you to a friend of mine, right? His name's Paolo. From Sicily. He hasn't been here long, right? And I need you to show him around Adelaide, all the nightclubs, okay? So you make sure you look after him, cool?" And I'm like, yeah, no worries. Easy done, you know. And I got to meet this guy. He was cool, like classic Italian-looking guy. And he didn't speak English very well at all. Communication was really tricky. I learned a bit of Italian in high school. So it's like, "Come sta?" He's like, "Va bene, grazie. Ti chiamo Paolo." I'm going, yeah, mi ti chiamo Andy, you know. Comprende. And we hung out for a little bit, and he took me straight to the men's room. And I thought, fuck, what's going on here? He pulls out one bag from his right, so I still remember it, full of MDMA, ecstasy, and then the next one, white powder, coke. And he's pouring it straight on the toilet thing. And he said, "There, you try this." Yeah. And I said, yeah, bravo. Yeah, no, si. And then bang, it just got stuck into it. And that was it. And we just had a ball that night, hung out at the club, flirted with the women, introduced him to the DJs and stuff like that. And for a few, you know, probably a couple of months we hung out, you know, he'd give me a call and, "Hey, do we go out tonight?" I say, yeah, si, no problem. Meet you here. Synagogue? Yep, corrente. So we did all that and we hung out. And then there was a few things after that he introduced me to, you know, drug houses. And I walked into a house and I don't know whether it was his house or not. He wasn't clear about it, but he says, "You come here, you see this." And I had a Croatian girlfriend at the time, and he said, "Yeah, you bring your girlfriend. Yeah, no problem." And we went there and walked into the house, and I'm like, "Cool, man. It's like, this is a cool house." And he goes, "Now go down here." And then I went down to the hallway. He opened up the doors, and it was just hydroponics, mate, like, dope to the roof in every room in the whole house. He said, "One day you live here, no problem, no rent, you're good." And I'm like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a lot of stuff. You know, we hung out for a while and, you know, just sort of coming to an end of this scenario. You know, we got taken to a dinner and at the top of I think it was the Hilton, top of the railway station in Adelaide, there was a big table full of Italian guys with their wives and some older guys, and it was all Italians. I was the only Aussie there, you know, once I got to know him. there was a guy waiting out the front door. You know, he was sussing me out as I walked in. And after that dinner, I thought about it, you know, like the next day or the day after, I'm thinking, man, who was I sitting at the table with? You know, who? And I thought, man, if it's like the mafia or the Italian mob in Adelaide, because there's a mafia in Adelaide, you know, a lot of it. But then I started, probably can't say that, but I was working with the Italians for a little while. And I had a little bit of product and I owed him a bit of money. And then he called me up. He goes, I want you to come down to the cafe, right? Come and see us. Come and see Paolo. He's waiting there for you. So I walked in and Paolo, I remember he's sitting there having with a coffee and he just looks at, he goes, oh, you speak to the back there. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And I went to the back, through behind the counter into the kitchen. And that's when there's two guys there, two Italian guys. And he said to me, yo, fucking Paolo some money, right? You don't fucking pay in the next 2 days. My friend, you are fucked. Don't fuck with me, all right? And he gave me that look. And his mate was standing there, pulled out a gun straight into my cheekbone, pushed me back onto the counter, like the back kitchen where they cook shit. Sat there, we're not fucking around. And it was the scariest shit. Like I thought, man, is this where I'm at?
Mm.
This is where I'm at. It was crazy. It was like from a movie.
Yeah, yeah. And you're mates with this guy, you know? Like,
yeah, I thought, I don't know, like it was a threat. I knew they weren't going to shoot me because they wanted their money.
Mm.
And it wasn't a lot of money either.
But they
weird.
were flexing what?
They were flexing. They weren't fucking around.
Yeah.
You know, I was naive. I was a bit laid and that was it. And then they go, you know, now fuck off. So I walked out there and then Paolo's sitting at the thing. He go, and I remember I walked and Paolo says, hey, sit down. And I sat down. He goes, you good? I said, yeah. He goes, I buy you a coffee. Yeah. And he gave me that look. He goes, you'll be good. You're a good friend. And I said, yeah, no, comprende.
This is just business, yeah.
That's it. And it was fucking weird, man. It was weird. Like, it was a crazy, crazy experience. But this shit, these are just two stories. This shit went on, and I only say two stories. This shit went on for maybe 4 years, on and off, working the clubs, hanging out with, you name it. It was crazy. And then one day I got a call and I answered my phone and the guy goes, all right, mate, we want you to move where you are, move into this house. All right, you can look after shit for us and don't worry, man, you'll make some fucking good money, I swear to God, all right? You know, and I said, yeah, well, just give me a couple of days, you know, like I'll think about it. He goes, yeah, you fucking, you know what I mean? It's a fucking good deal, bro. Like you've been with, you know, around us for long enough. I trust you, you know, because obviously like they give you a bit of a touch up if you fuck up.
Yeah.
And then I sat there and thought about it and I thought, my God, it sounds like I've got no choice. And then I thought, what am I going to say? I need to get out of this because I thought this shit's either going to kill me or I'm going to end up in jail or something like that. Not playing the victim here because, you know, I did get involved in stuff I probably should have just walked away from. But I didn't have, you know, being this fucking naive kid in Cotton Wool, I didn't have my parents to go, you can't fucking do that anymore. It's like you box a kid up, a tiger, and you open the cage, mate. After years, that tiger's going to fucking kill. You know what I mean? And that was me.
Just going to find out what it's like in the wild, yeah.
That's it,
yeah.
You know. And I didn't have mentors to go, bro, what are you fucking doing? Like, don't fucking hang around them, all right? I didn't have that.
You had these figures around you that had a lot of power by the sounds of it, but were giving you praise but keeping you in line at the same time. And you sort of, something's got to go, your intuition's got to tick a little bit like this isn't quite, something's not quite right here. I can't keep doing this for so long.
I felt special.
Yeah.
I felt like
they were feeding that part of you, right? That ego, whatever you want to call it, like they were feeding it to you and you felt special. you were involved in what was going on.
Yeah.
But also it had to dawn on you that this couldn't go on for too much longer at some point, right? There must have been a breaking point where you were just like, I got to get the fuck out of this.
That's exactly what happened. You know, it was a couple of days later, he called me back up and he goes, so what are we going to do here? And I said, listen, my dad's, I thought about what to say. You know, they truthfully did live in Queensland. But my dad wasn't unwell, but I said, my dad's really, really ill, mate. I've got to go to Queensland. I've got to go now. Like, this is fucked. It's my dad. And the good thing is I started learning about their culture and the criminality side and how they interact. And I learned a fucking lot, man. Like, it was a 3-4 year course with these guys. So I learned a fucking lot, you know, and, family is big. Right. They understand that. Yeah. They know that. If you get it, you get these people. Family is probably the only excuse you'll get away with. So I used it and I said, I've got to go. The next 48 hours, I just fucking gave half my shit away, sold my shit, packed the car, jumped in the car, consumed some drugs to keep me awake, and I drove and I barely stopped till I got to Brisbane. I slept for 4 hours, somewhere between Adelaide and Brisbane. My parents hadn't seen me in person for a long time. And I said, on the phone, I said, I'm almost here. And not only hadn't slept, I wasn't the same placid, unsort of touched Andy, this nice little quiet guy anymore. I was a fucking madman, in a way. I rocked up to the front of the house and there was my sister. I still remember my sister, my brother, my mum and dad waiting out the front. And I remember opening the door, getting out and going, I'm going to fucking sue the council because I couldn't fucking find this street. Like, there's a fucked, and I was going off. So I was no longer this quiet, placid Andy. Like, I was a fucking maniac. And looking back, I felt so bad. Like, I shouldn't have, but that's the way my mental state was. Yeah. You know, I did a lot of drugs over the years and suddenly I was streetwise. And I was like, don't fuck with me. So it's a little bit tricky to talk about, but because it sort of makes me feel like that again, but I know I'm not like that. And that was, and I remember my mum just breaking down and my sister crying and hugging each other. And it's almost like they're saying, what have we got here?
Yeah,
like,
what happened to our boy?
What happened to our boy?
Yeah.
Who is he? And that was it. And I just want to touch on that part of it. But it's something I haven't really spoken to a lot of people about, but it comes back to ask me to play that bad guy, ask me to play that cop in a film, and I feel it's not just about getting the role or being a part of a film crew. It's like, cool, I get to be that again.
Does that make you feel powerful, like evoking those emotions again, like tapping into something there? You're like, I can briefly flirt with this wild, bad side again, but it's okay because I'm doing it for the art, I'm doing it for the art.
Yeah. I can walk away from it when they say cut or that's a wrap.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing it, I do generally feel that sense of power.
Yeah.
Even with you guys in that film, like I was a corrupt detective, and I thought as soon as I walked in that room, I just felt that feeling of domination. It's like you're, I don't care who you two are. That's it. I own you. But that was a part of the role as well.
Yeah.
To sort of be this, Agent Kruger, it's like we've been had and something like that, that I don't know if maybe it helped me in a way. I don't know, but it's just an interesting part of my life. I just wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's why I play those roles as, a loving husband. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Do you think it helped you also kind of get over it and get past it? Like maybe some sort of, healing process, like letting those last bit out and go, okay, I'm not that guy anymore. That's not me, but I'll use it for this. And then I'll just, I can kind of go past it again now because I've transformed, I've evolved in my evolution of a human being, to something else now. And that's not me. I flirted with that side now I understand it. I get that it's the bad side of me or the bad side of society and what people can do to manipulate
the
others.
environment.
But
I appreciate people a lot more.
Yeah.
I see them for what they are. I can see the good hearts and I can see the bad ones. It's like the rose-coloured glasses are off.
Yeah. See straight down to the core.
Yeah, I see good people, and I'm passionate about caring about good people and protecting them. I feel protective. I cringe at bullies. You know, if I see a disadvantaged person being picked on, that instinct kicks back in and I will go into protection mode. If someone tells me about that they've been abused in some way, I feel I want to get that person, that abuser, you know, and I guess I feel protective of people that have been through shit or genuine victims. I've got a great love for good, caring people that care about others, and I guess that's why I got into being a youth support worker, caring for these young kids and in some cases adults. You know, I see they're disadvantaged. They're the ones pushed to the side. I saw a lot of that in my late teens, you know, the have-nots, and I've got massive, massive empathy for people like that. I want to protect them.
Yeah.
I want to care for them. I want them to know it's okay to feel included. And I'm glad, in a way, if I had looked back and, you know, someone says, would you do that 3, 4, 5 years again that you did and go through those experiences? Would you do it again? It's a hard one to answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know whether it's my empathy, because I've got a huge amount of empathy for people. Like, it's probably over the top. It's like, you know, if I see someone being bullied or victimised, or my instincts kick in, I just want to annihilate that bully, you know. If I didn't go through all that, would I feel the same way? Maybe I'd still be naive.
Yeah, possibly not. No, it's part of your evolution as a man, you know, growing up. Yeah, it's that's it. But it's just like these environments that mold you into who you are, and then it's funny that you like go back on the other side of it, and that you're helping the same people that could have been so naive in those situations the same way you were when you were impressionable, and then you see that, and then you want to help, right? Like you're like, I see a bit of you and me, and I think I can help guide you into maybe not making the same mistakes that I do, or that I did. But also those mistakes got you to be the person you are today. So would you do it all over again? Most times, most people will say, you know, that are humble, that are, you know, that are okay and come to terms with it.
What's the worst thing in the case? I could have got shot.
Yeah.
You know, like.
But you didn't.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
And you learned from it. And you wouldn't be the person you are today now because of it. And also you wouldn't be able to help those people. You wouldn't be able to tap into those things to fuel you for those acting roles that you take on. It's part of life, right?
It's weird.
It is what it is.
It's like one of the roles that I got into, Brothers, that was directed and written by Cameron Brunt. I had to play the badass, and I went to the gym to sort of buff up and look dangerous for it. It wasn't really an audition; it was more of an interview. He sat down with me just like this, and he said, "Well, just, you know, what have you done in the past?" And, you know, talk about your acting. And I said, "I just did this and that," and I was nervous. I get nervous, and I didn't know whether I'd actually get the role, but I sat there and just ran down a little short sort of story of what I did and what I'd seen and stuff like that. And I remember him sort of probably waiting for me to finish because I rambled on a bit. And then he just says, I think you'd be right for the role. I remember him saying that, and I say, thanks. And he goes, yeah, look, you can play him, all right? And that was cool. So, and I guess I felt so authentic in that role. I feel so authentic playing that, you know. People think, what are these gangsters like and what are these tough guys like? They're actually, a lot of them are boring. You know, they're not that extravagant and over the top. You know, when you see these gangsters like in film, try act over the top. A lot of them have never, rubbed shoulders with a real guy. They're just like fucking you and me, and they just talk shit and whatever it is. And they're not that exciting. They're not that intelligent either, a lot of them. Sorry if you're watching. They just do things differently to us, So that's why playing Agent Kruger or playing Jack in Brothers or any of those sort of roles, I just know that I'm not going to be that over the top. I like the word performing. I'm just going to be myself and with a few adjustments, and that's it. And I say that about all actors. I say, have fun playing your role. You don't need to exaggerate too much. I mean, find the emotion. If the emotion's required of you, find it and make sure it matches your facial expressions and vice versa. But you got chosen for that role because of your look, because of your intensity, because of your voice.
Well, if you overplay it comes across on screen. Like the camera doesn't lie, and you can see when people are overacting in scenes and things like that and trying to force that emotion out. I mean, sometimes the things aren't there to tap into, that you kind of, and you do what's called, playing the emotion rather than actually tapping into the emotion and seeing.
I like the way you said that.
Yeah, it's
well said.
Yeah, they do it in acting classes. It's like if you're like the last thing you have to fall on, if you can't seem to tap into what it is that you're trying to do and your craft isn't working and your substitutions and things that aren't there, just play it. Play the emotion. Yeah,
believe in yourself. He picked you. Whoever it might be, the casting director or the director or whoever picked you, they saw your show reel, they saw a picture of yourself, they go, this guy's perfect. Now have faith that you can execute that role as yourself with appropriate tweaks.
Yeah.
You don't need to do much more.
Because you are just playing forms of yourself. Yeah.
That's it.
People don't know that, but,
look at Morgan Freeman. He's a really good actor, right? Morgan Freeman, he's just got an amazing voice.
Yeah.
He's got that look. He can just literally be his organic fucking self on the screen.
He is really. That's what it seems
himself.
like. But he's so lovable as well. Like he's so gentle and you kind of believe it. And I actually recently watched a newer film that come out with him, Robert De Niro, the dude that was like the white guy that was the lead on Scrubs. The TV show, the doctors or the comedy
I don't watch TV.
Nah, okay, but people will know what I'm talking about. I mean, Scrubs is a huge hit show, but and it was called The Comeback Trail. Tommy Lee Jones was in it as well. It was really quite good.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones.
It was funny, man. But and Morgan Freeman's in it. But he's a bad guy. He's a gangster in it, and Robert De Niro owes him money for making his films and stuff.
Now.
But he's it's so hard to believe him. But he's like this naive bad guy where like Robert De Niro just talks him into wanting to make these movies, even though he knows it's not going to sell.
Huh?
Yeah, it's funny, but he's hard to believe as a bad guy because he's that gentle. He just has that gentle, calming energy about him, especially on screen. And I'm sure if you meet him in person, not that I have, but he's that guy. But
like in the he's the Green Mile. He's that real big guy, the one that's
the
Green
fantastic
Mile.
movie.
That one.
Yeah, Tom Hanks. Yeah, I forget the big black guy's name. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
I know who you're talking about.
He was
though.
intense.
He's a gentle giant.
The gentle giant, that's the word.
But just so gentle, you just love him, eh? And but he's just like in there for something really sinister, right? And it could just crush your head probably.
Yeah. It was so well, cast for that film.
Brilliant.
Like, they cast it so well, didn't they? Sometimes like when you just go, who else could have played that role?
Nah, you can't
and
see
you just
it.
go, how did they cast that so well?
They nailed it when you're just like, I couldn't see anyone else do it.
It's like Patrick Bateman played like American Psycho, played by that guy that we were talking about earlier.
Kevin Spacey.
No, the one that went off. Oh, Kevin Spacey. Hang on.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale. Kevin Spacey.
But you're talking about Christian Bale and Psycho, right? Is it?
American Psycho.
Yeah. My
My name is Patrick Bateman. I'm 27 years old. I believe in taking care of myself with a balanced diet and a rigorous training routine. Yes, I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it's eerie. I didn't watch it.
Perfectly picked.
Yeah, I don't
cast.
remember watching it when it first came out or anything. I think I'd seen scenes of it before, but actually Jeremy got me to study that film for one of the roles that I was playing, and I was just like,
Wow.
whoa, this is intense, man. I haven't seen Christian Bale like this. Like, I know him as Batman.
Dude.
He's one of my favorite actors. He's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing him in that, I'm just like, oh, this is another
Dude,
light that I
what
did.
role was that?
I can't remember what it was.
That was there must have been an insane role, dude.
Honestly, it may have actually been something that for Alpha.
Okay.
But he just wanted me. There was a reason why he wanted me to play. I think it might have been too because of, you know, he's like pretending to be something himself. He's that business dude, but then again, he's this guy that gets women over to his house, dates them, and then, you know, kills them. And he's absolutely psycho and he's holding that front of that person all the time in natural society.
Yes.
And my role, Tobias Kane, and that being a detective, is that I was like that by the book detective, like sucking up the ass of the sergeant. Like I was his number one guy, do what you say, Sarge. But I was also really womanizing character. Like I had a wife, but I was sleeping with.
That doesn't sound like you.
I was sleeping with the my partner in crime, which you walk in on the scenes and stuff like that. But I think I believe that was the inspiration behind him getting me to watch that. I believe that was one of the
Christian
films.
Bale in that role, American Psycho, playing Patrick Bateman, was very emotionless.
Yeah.
It's like had this artificial emotion.
Yeah.
It's like
he was like a plastic face.
Yeah. I've always wondered what her head would look like on a stick. You know, he's like, that's
so crazy.
You know, and then he'd be like, and everyone would go like, Patrick, like, you know, it was emotionless.
Yeah.
But the other one, Kevin Spacey, what was that movie? We were talking about it before.
Well, I think American Beauty, is that what you were?
No, with the guys, with all those guys there. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. You know, I can't think of it.
What was that? We were talking about that before.
Yeah, we were talking about it before.
What's that?
Usual suspects.
Usual suspects.
That's right.
That's it. That was brilliant. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Yeah. What's one of your favorites? Tell me.
Man,
That you just sat there and just go, that's just intense acting.
as I
That's
say, I'm a
amazing.
huge Christian Bale fan.
Is he any good in Batman? Because I don't really.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Or is it just
I'm
the
a huge
gravelly voice?
Nah, he's fucking brilliant. Like,
Really?
yeah, I'm a huge Batman fan. Like, Batman Begins, which is the first one with him in it of the Christopher Nolan trilogy series, is my favorite film. But it's like the journey, you know, to become Batman as well. Like being from Bruce Wayne and then coming, like training with Ra's al Ghul and all those guys, and then he comes through and then becomes Batman, you know, and then what portrays the Dark Knight and things like that come from it. I love that trilogy. Like I'll watch that once or twice, that whole trilogy a year. Like I absolutely
Have you watched the original Supermans, like from the 1980s? Christopher, what's his name? I can't even
don't know. Yeah, I'm not.
I think like you must have put too much in this drink.
I didn't put anything in it. That's the one that you brought. But
was it?
We can crack the whiskey if you're ready for that.
Are you serious? I think I'm done with this.
Oh man, impressionable
Christopher
movies.
Reeve.
Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe I don't know if I've seen that. Back
Like
in the
his
day.
brilliance as an actor in, Superman 1, the original ones, like from 1978, 1979.
That was impressionable for you. Like, is that
big time?
Yeah.
I don't see like the younger generation. I'm always curious. I want to know, like, because that was a massive film that just taxi, like that. That was something that had a massive impression on me, and it was not just the music. The music is huge in film, and let me say again, Jeremy nailed the music in
the score? Yeah. He had a really good guy.
Like,
Jesus, my bad.
we seriously got to do Taxi. Does anyone? Would you like to take over?
Look, it's not as bad as the last one. I had an Esky chili bin for my country folk, but right next to it, and it had to fold over the handle over the bottom, and I kept knocking it over every time I was doing it last time. Yeah, I had a hell of a racket, but it wasn't much better.
I tell you what, I'm feeling dizzy. He's going for another one.
Yeah, I mean, films like, I think Christian Bale, Leonardo DiCaprio, guys like that, some of my favorite actors and what they're in. I mean, it's just terrific.
Leonardo.
I thought Pulp Fiction was amazing. Like, that was another one that I know is hugely inspirational for Jeremy as well. But what I really loved about that film was all the intertwining stories coming together as the one story. Like, I thought the way they developed the characters and they intertwined all that to come together for one movie was just brilliant. Absolute genius from Tarantino. And that's like,
Royale with cheese.
Yeah, well, that's
like, and then next minute it's going on to all kinds of different topics. It was amazing. It was like he had a film, 120 minutes or 150 minutes or whatever. He broke it up into sections, said that's going to be the topic. We're going to do the hamburger one for topic 6, and then we're going to do the car running people over for 8, and then he wrote his scripts around each sort of topic.
Yeah, to merge them together.
And then we're going to merge them together like a big hamburger. So, cheers, big ears.
No worries.
No cola.
Cheers, man. That's straight whiskey, mate. That's how we do it.
You're intense. Holy moly.
Oh, is that a bit strong for you? Used to it with mixer?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's insane.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice to sip on, mate. You get there.
Yes.
What is it? We've got a Long Branch. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nice small batched aged American oak. Love it.
That's amazing.
It's good. That or the Buffalo Trace. Last time me and Jeremy went through a bottle of that Buffalo Trace.
Oh, really? So where did he end up?
Man, his missus was up here doing something on a film set. We ended up going out after, actually. Yeah, he stayed up here with me. It was actually hilarious. Like, he was still sleeping on the couch, like, well into the afternoon. And I'm watching UFC, and he woke up for the main fight. And that was about it. I just didn't even know how he was out to it for that long with the TV going and everything. I'm just like, man.
Oh, dude, you had a big one.
But he burns the candle at both ends a lot. And so
most creatives do, don't they?
Exactly, yeah. Well,
it's like if they're not having guns put to their head, they're drinking too much.
Yeah.
It's like you got to do something crazy.
Well, it's where the brilliance comes from. A lot of those small hours of the nights, what you're tapping into. Like, it just comes to you, and you just get on that flow state, and you just got to get it out. Like, no matter what you do, you just get it out. You're into that. You're into that. You're just in tune with what you're doing, and it's just the time just lapses around you, and you're just in another world.
Whatever it takes to experience the entire spectrum of emotion, from the deepest feeling of grief right up to the fantastic high of elation. And I think once you've experienced that, and you've hit it enough times, and someone gives you a role and you need this one here or that one there, you can find it. And I think maybe that's what makes a good actor. I don't know, dude.
I don't know. It's tapping into that stuff from the void and from within yourself. Yeah. It's just like, I mean, could you have ever seen yourself getting involved in the acting game? Like, you said you're a shy kid as well. Like, I can both relate to that. And but you were transforming. You were finding yourself. You got involved with certain people, but they were giving you love and elation in a different category. And then you get into the film game where people are jazzing you up as well, like, and
but
it's
they
like
were
the
good
first
people.
time, and it's the first time you're getting that kind of
they weren't doing lines of coke off the scarlet and red camera. You know what I mean?
But they were giving you appreciation, and they were
validation,
and
maybe,
and you just feel great about yourself. You're like, okay, I can be more of me. I can tap into all those things, those strange little wells within myself to bring this emotion out. And it's okay, I'm in a safe environment to create, to explore these things without getting judged.
Yeah, and plus it was another thing that being that quiet guy that didn't you like, I still don't like to socialize in big groups. I've still got that with me, a lot of the time I don't. If there's awards nights, even if I'm in the film, I just won't go. I just don't like being around lots and lots of people or anything pretentious. Like, it's probably over awareness, which sometimes I wish I didn't have, but I've got that street wiseness and over awareness that anything that's pretentious or not right, I just won't go there. And I don't care for what reason. I don't care if I'm getting nominated. It's like, if it just doesn't feel right, I'm just not going there. Like, I will say no thanks. But being that shy kid, from a young age. It was sort of good to step back and jump on a stage, and there's 1,500, 2,000 people in front of you just all screaming and raving, and you're just doing, make some noise for Groove Terminator in the house, and doing all the voices and shit, man. I put on a lot of voices. That's probably why I like acting as well. And then, just being able to play those roles. And the biggest thing I sort of think about is, can I nail it? Like, it's simple for me. It's not that complex. I mean, there's like, I'm not putting myself down, but I'm average sort of intelligence. I know that. There's some highly intelligent people that analyze shit to pieces, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, I don't even get what you're saying. You're like, like, I look at this painting and it's like, and they analyze it, but I'm just like, what the fuck are you on about? Like, it's a fucking painting, it's got a few different colours and shit, and the rose is round and whatever. Just as long as I can walk away and feel like I've done justice to the film, people are happy with me. That's a big one. Like the director going, it comes down to that validation thing. It's like the director goes, fuck, you smashed it, okay. But to be truthful about it, like I'd rather a director to go, bro, I didn't like it. You fucked that up. Yeah. I'd love that shit. I get off on that
jazz the ego.
Fucking give it to me. And I'll do it until I fucking nail it, and I'll walk away, because we're our own biggest critics, actors and shit, sure. Mate. Well, we 100%. Fucking rip ourselves to bits, man. We do. We watch our film and we go, fuck, I should have said that word differently. How weak was that?
In hindsight, there's so many things that you would change, but that's what comes with the territory of being an actor or being a perfectionist. Or
we're so fucking critical.
I know, so
is that why A-level actors don't watch their own films?
Probably, yeah.
Because they don't want to cringe?
And it fucks with you as well, mentally. And then so you take that with you into the next one, where you want to just be this moldable palette, that you're bringing in from the void, you're bringing in from these places, and you're letting this thing happen and create, and you're taking advice from here and there, and you're bouncing off your contributor in the scene.
You got it down.
It's I think that's why though, because it really does mess with you. I think it's a really great tool to have when you're starting out, because you gotta look at yourself and go, okay, I can see where like I was struggling to breathe in that scene. Breathing is like a fundamental thing for when you first start as an actor, because how are you supposed to actually get out the words and the right emotion and the tone and everything that you're trying to do if you can't even breathe properly? Like it's just, you just got to naturally be in the scene and then just breathe with it and go with it, and then you can start getting somewhere with it. But when you first look yourself in the camera, you're like, oh man, I look so awkward, I look so nervous and this and that, and it's a great thing, and it's so hard to get used to at the start to really like understand what you're looking at.
I want to vomit at some of the shit I've done. And I'll fucking watch it once or twice and I go, nah, I hope that never gets shown to anybody.
But that's the beauty of film, is that you can cut certain portions of it to make it look good, even if the whole part of the scene didn't look great. But
editor, you better get it right, bro.
And so many things can be changed in the edit,
I admire editors.
It's a tough thing to
Jeremy.
do. Yeah. Well, that's what he said is one of the huge things that he's gone down now, is that he loves editing. It's like creating the film all over again, and it really is. And so he edited his last feature, and he's
get rid of my fuck ups.
But it's a funny thing, eh? Like, and then you like get to a point where you're like, you overanalyze. Like me, I can overanalyze so many things in life and in my creative elements, or creative things that I'm going down, in my projects, and I can overanalyze it, and then you're like, oh man, I don't even think I'm good at all anymore. Like I don't even know what I'm doing. Maybe I shouldn't do this anymore, and that can become really.
Do you think
critical.
It's a confidence thing? Like, is it self-confidence?
Confidence and belief is probably the biggest thing in this game.
Do you have any influences that sort of bring your confidence up? Like I use David Goggins.
Yeah, I love Goggins. Yeah.
It's like, you want to get it right, you got to do it like this. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Just when you think that your limits on yourself, you can pass that. Stay hard, motherfucker.
That's it.
I love him, man. Yeah, and Rogan references him all the time, and he's great on Rogan's podcast. Yes. I've done his book, his audio book. It's like 11 hours, man. It's full on, but his backstory from being like a really, really overweight dude, like, and then getting to himself to be a Navy SEAL and then in the highest realm of the Navy SEAL stuff.
Or as Joe Rogan says, man, that's fucking intense, man. This guy is fucking intense.
Yeah. And he's great.
I love the way
he's really inspirational. I think his book is really good. And he had a lot of like abusive dad, like growing up, and like they took it out on his mum and his brother and all that. And that's what stemmed like a lot of the things within him. I'm curious naturally, and that's why I do what I'm doing here with the podcast. That I'm naturally curious about how people go about what they do, and I know I can apply those.
Do you
things
want to know anything else?
Well, we can get there, but what I was sort of saying is that like those kind of guys, like they're wonderful to listen to how they do, and then you can apply some of those things to your own life. But I don't know. Like I think I'm big on like the confidence within yourself, you know. And I've been in areas when I was real shy and quiet and didn't know what I was doing to blossoming as a boy and growing into a man, you know, and realizing these passions and things. And that really didn't even come about until I moved over here, when I went away from family and everything, just moved over here by myself, that I actually found, started to tap into all those things that make me who I am. And I got passionate about the film game, and there wasn't like a lot of like those people around me to boost it up, you know, and like say that you're doing an awesome job at what you're doing. Like people in the creative industry are so like humble and so outreaching with that kind of advice to you, or not advice, but just acknowledgement, you know, and it jazzes you up and you do better. And then you're like, oh man. So how do you, I'm invincible, you know?
How do you take advice? Like say, have you ever
I don't take it very well. I get embarrassed, you know, like I don't like when, but I like hearing
someone,
it.
You know how you see it, go, God, dude, you fucking nailed that. You did such a great thing.
I'm better at it now, but I'll get like a little bit. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. Like, you know, like I get embarrassed.
Do you really feel thanks, or do you go when do you think, oh fuck, I didn't do it that good? Well,
I can tell, like I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of like energy and character. So I can tell if someone's saying it and they don't actually believe what they're saying, you know. Yeah, okay. But when they do it, I know they're being genuine.
It's like, that's a big fucking fish, man. It's like, dude, it's a 35 centimeter whiting. That's not fucking big.
Yeah. Well, you get that imposter syndrome a little bit too. Like you're like, oh man, am I really? Did I don't really want to believe it, you know? Like, I struggle with compliments. Like I'll just give a compliment back, you know, like I just like reflect it with something else.
I just say back to him and says, well, you've got a beautiful face.
It's a weird thing, eh? But I really think that confidence and that self-belief is everything in this game. And I've been to a point where I've built that up and had so much in myself that pushed me forward for years and years to go on. And then I've had that completely knocked out of me as well, to the point of I'm like, is this even worth it again? Like, do I want to go through all this? Because I know what it took for me to get to that point.
So we're all on sort of the seesaws, aren't we?
Yeah.
With that.
It's
all of us.
Yeah.
We've got to admit that.
Yeah.
We're like,
but a lot of people don't, you know.
You can't be up here all the time. Yeah. We all know that.
Yeah.
We're all on seesaws with that confidence level, no matter what you do in life. Even fucking David Goggins, man, behind the scenes, he's got to say, oh, fuck, you know, I'm not feeling that fucking good today, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to wash the dishes and go for a 40 fucking mile run. So fuck you. You know what I mean?
I think it's acknowledging it though as well, right?
Yeah,
so you acknowledge the fact that you
I'm
don't
feeling
feel
fucked today.
Great.
I'm not feeling great
really
today.
Off kilter.
My confidence is fucked today.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but it's like, so once you actually can admit that to yourself, it can alleviate a lot of that stress and frustration that you're probably putting on yourself. That is boosting that bad, rotten part of the apple, you know, like within you. So you're like, okay, I'm addressing it. Okay, the rot's can stop a little bit there, and then you can begin to like mend it, you know, or alleviate it in whatever way you're going down. Okay, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to clear my head, you know, but at least I've acknowledged I feel like shit today. I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to go for a run, but I'm going to start and I'm going to keep that momentum going, and then see where it ends up. And often you can just surpass where you were at, and then you're like, I feel great again. I want to
hear from you, Dan Good. What is what motivates you?
What motivates me?
Yeah. What's you know, say you're having a week where you just don't feel that motivated. Where do you go? Where do you source motivation from? So say it's like the run you were just talking about. You're planning on running tomorrow. You wake up in the morning, I don't want to fucking run. I just fuck it, you know. And then maybe I did the dishes this morning. That's fucking good enough. I did them last night. What makes you just go, fuck it, I'm running?
I think it's experience. I think because you've been in those positions before where you're like, okay, I'm not going to run it. And then you don't do it, right? And you sit around and you feel lazy, and then it eats away at you because you didn't do the thing that you set out to do.
Yeah.
And then it just makes you feel even shittier and shittier inside. And then so you've done that portion before, right? And that's feeding the evil within or whatever that's making you be so slack and lazy. But then once you're actually been in those positions before where you've gone, no, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to, at least I'll do 10 minutes rather than that hour-long run that I was going to go do. And then you start walking and you start feeling a bit better. And you're like, you know what? I don't feel that bad anymore. I can keep going. And you start to, that fire just like ignites in you. You're like, you know what? Why was I thinking so shitty before? Like in that mindset, it's just about pushing through, I think. And that's a big thing with Goggins, you know, it's just pushing through because you know you have that untapped potential within you. It's just about getting into it, you know, and firing that engine up. It's like a steam engine, you know, and the more
those chemicals,
you create, the more endorphins, the chemicals that creates in your brain, the better you feel about yourself, the further you push yourself, the more you're going to become of you.
That's it. Because you got some people that sit on the couch and they do fuck all.
Yeah.
And they just drink and do fuck all.
And it's a self-sabotaging way.
Exactly. You know? And they want these endorphins and they go, well, fucking, I need the endorphins so I get off the couch and go for a run. It's like, get off your fucking fat ass and go for the run first, experience what it's like, or go to the gym, just do one fucking crazy intense workout without injuring yourself. Feel what it's like to get this injection of endorphins and all that good shit.
Yeah.
And it is literally almost like a human produced drug, and it becomes addictive, and you're going to be chasing it. And I say to people, you know, with depression, because I had all the reasons in the world to be fucked up. You know, the amount of drugs I took in Adelaide, you know, my dad took me to a doctor to get fucking analysed to see, you know, whether I had, you know, whatever that fucked up thing is, you know, psycho crap.
Yeah.
There's a different word for it. It's not so crazy. I can't fucking think of it now. See what it's done? My memory's shit.
You
know, and I had all the reasons in the world not to be motivated and not to do any, you know, sometimes it is a struggle. But things like, if you really want to know and you're watching this now and you're feeling like I'm not that fucking motivated, I could do more, you don't have to be a fucking champion. You don't have to climb mountains. Google or YouTube David Goggins, right? And listen to his story with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, listen to David Goggins and listen to the way this guy, what he's been through.
And the mindset and the thing, the actual
mindset.
battles within yourself.
They're the fucking words.
Yeah.
They're the words.
I think that's
mindset.
It. And it is a mindset. But like I say, once you start doing the thing, like it's like writing or
Momentum.
whatever, you know, you just pick up the page and write something. Just start writing shit, like whatever you're feeling. As ludicrous as it sounds.
I don't feel like writing today. Yeah. I can't be fucked on now. I'm going to start the story.
But all of a sudden, it starts to work over those cogs in your mind, and it just starts going, and you just start tapping into something, and then all of a sudden, you're out of that hour long that you've written, there could be 20 minutes of brilliance in there. But you forced yourself at the start, and the first half an hour was terrible. But that's what you have to do. You got to force that within you, and the endorphins start to run, things start to just fire within you, and your brain synapses, and it's just cracking it back in, because it's so much easier to be lazy. It's so much easier to sit around and chuck a movie on and not do what you have to do. But you're running away from your problems. You're avoiding the hard stuff, and sometimes you just need to start. That's it. Like it's like you can list all the problems in the world of why you're not going to start the task that you're trying to go on, but why not just use all that energy that you're going to spend?
What does David Goggins call it? It's like that mother in your head saying, no, it'll be okay. You just sit there. You don't have to do fuck all. I'm going to give you a big hug. You can just sit on the motherfucking couch and do shit.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, it's the hard voice. It's like, get off the couch, walk down the stairs, go for that run. You know, that's hard. That seems harder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It seems more difficult. It's like, fuck. But you know what? This is what I used to do, because I'm shit for washing dishes. Right? I've got a dishwasher, but I can't even be fuck packing it. You know, I've got all these dirty dishes, and And before I go to bed, they've got these dishes sitting there. It's as simple as this. This is really unsophisticated. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm tired. And as soon as I get that voice in my head, don't do the dishes, just go to bed, Andrew. You know what I say to myself? I go, well, how about fuck you? I'm going over, I'm doing these dishes. And once they're fucking sitting in that rack drying off, naturally, by the way, I don't use tea towels.
Yeah.
Then I'll go to bed. And I love to challenge myself.
Yeah.
Like, you fuck with your own mind. You fight your own.
And you feel accomplished, though. You've actually done something you set out to do as well. And
but
it can be such a little task.
Yeah.
But that's the small wins,
I won the arm wrestle against my own mind.
Yeah, exactly.
My own mind was saying, I don't want to do this. And I'm just like, well, fuck you, I'm doing it. And then it's like,
it's
gotcha.
Why put off what you're going to do today? Why put it off till tomorrow when you can do it today, and then you can start something new tomorrow,
Exactly.
And it's simple little steps, though. And it is about taking those little steps and having those little victories and acknowledging those little victories, that end up going to the bigger task, the bigger goal. And that's what it is about life, Like you can always see those high points that you want to reach to, but if you're only looking at the top of the mountain, it makes all that climb so much harder. But if you can see the little peaks and valleys of what you're trying to get to step by step, eventually you're halfway up that mountain and that end goal's in sight. And it's just about achieving those little things, those little wins within yourself.
I reckon, it's not going to be that long before you take on David Goggins and you're starting to tell him what to do because you're good.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
You are good, bro. Like, I like that shit. You do it without the F's and you're inspirational. They go, fucking this, fucking that, and being all full on. But you say what David says. And another big thing as well is what you eat. You know that what you are is what you eat?
Yeah.
You know what? People that struggle emotionally, like when it comes to depression and whatnot, because I've had all the reasons in the world to be depressed and be fucked up and whatever it is. And I've had these waves of emotion and stuff, and I know when it's coming. One of the biggest things I did, one of the biggest tricks I did was regulating my diet. And it's no fancy bullshit magical. You got to take this fucking diet for, $29.99 a week and you can be the best of it. None of that shit, right? Simple things like minimizing all the bullshit crap processed food that's out there. Yeah. And the fact is that's what we're putting in our bodies. We're eating a lot of bullshit. Yeah. I mean, not me, I fucking avoid it. And sugar as well is a big one because sugar smashes you up, gives you a big high and drops down with the insulin rising. Yeah. So you actually going, I feel fucked and I feel depressed and I felt so great ages ago. You know what that is? That's all the bullshit going like this because you're eating shit.
Yeah, well, your system takes a long time to process that sort of stuff. But you're
we're saying this while drinking alcohol, but, this is a special moment.
Exactly.
But normally I wouldn't be doing this, right?
Yeah.
And neither would you.
What? It is Sunday, long weekend, I may have had a few yesterday.
It's the weekend.
No, not all the time though, but I save, like I've done the hard work throughout the week, like I've gone work a full-time job, 6 days. I've trained 5 days this week, 5 nights, whatever. I've achieved, these certain things. So you can allow yourself to have a little bit of pleasure.
You can. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger did, he would sit down there and, get stuck into the brews.
Yeah. Yeah, you are what you eat, and it's right, and you feel a lot more energetic. I know when I started to understand, work out a lot more, and I was finding this confidence within myself, which it correlates with me finding the acting game too, is that I started working out, I started feeling better about myself, I started to feel like I looked better, which it boosted myself and my self-confidence within me and the belief, and then I kind of just fell into the acting game, and it's and just keep going with the motions ever since then, and that's just where it all built up, and then I built myself up higher, the belief, the confidence, and then I felt like I could do so much more, and I did so much more that I never would have done. People going to me in New Zealand, oh man, I never thought you would do acting and stuff, you're a bit quiet, whatever, and it's just you keep hitting those levels, and the sky is the limit, you have limits on your potential and what you can do, but there is so much that you can do with yourself, and you will surprise yourself if you just start that walk before that run, if you just start writing that journal before you start and writing your script, if you it's just about getting started and just going with that momentum, and you'll surprise yourself. You really will.
Yeah, if you're going to put diluted fuel in your car's going to
run like a bag of shit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Even if you have to work your way up from that diluted shit till you get to your 95, till you get to your 98, you know what I mean?
And you're running on
it's
high
like
octane.
everything, man.
Yeah.
It's how you run, but you don't have to be top level. Don't put pressure on yourself. It's like, I'm going to feel fucking fantastic because the guy next door is, or that person over there is looking so confident, or they're this and that. It's like, fucking work your way up. Just start the first thing I would say is make sure you get enough sleep. Fuck off the sugar. Fuck off with the processed food, and then go for a walk, maybe just around the block or whatever. I do it in that. I wouldn't go to the gym first. Get your diet right before you go to the gym. You go to the gym.
80% of it. Yeah, 80, 90% of it.
Fucking oath. You go to the 100%. You go to the gym first, but your diet shit, don't expect much. Just slowly fuck off that processed food, maybe, minimize heavy meats and stuff like that. You don't have to spend a fortune. The organic shit, I don't believe in it. I think it's just fucking overpriced veggies and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. And then you're better off like you wonder why the Chinese live to 105 years old and 110, right? They don't eat 3 meals a day. That 3 meals a day, I don't believe in it, okay? You know what? Eat when you're hungry. So if you need to eat little bits 4, 5, 6 times a day, that's what you do. Forget this 3 meal bullshit, all right? Sit around if you've got a family, you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
So you're stuck into that weird way of eating. Eat when you're hungry, and that's what I do. And then go to the gym. You don't need to overtrain. Just be intense. Throw out lots and lots of reps. You don't have to go full on with the heavy weights. It's based on what you want to achieve anyway. If you want to be a power lifter, well, then you got to.
It's a bit of a different story, but
exactly.
You got to fuel your body right.
Fuel
to
your
get
body
the
carbs
moment to actually get the best out of your
taro,
body.
heaps of carbs.
But
potatoes,
recovery, like you said, is a huge thing. But
recovery.
It's one thing you just
be easy on yourself. Go easy. Don't have these unrealistic expectations.
Well, you're building your own masterpiece within yourself. You're not just going to wake up one day and be that. So it's a life goal. It's a progress. It's about those small goals, those small wins. But it's one thing you said before, and it's I actually have it on my alarm clock. Is that comparisons are the thieves of all joys.
Thank you very much.
And it's something I got to keep telling myself all the time, because it's so easy to compare yourself to the next person, or this actor's doing this and like getting that. Why am I getting this? I put in the effort. It's
that's just so true.
Yeah, I've got it on my alarm clock.
Don't do it with YouTube or social media.
That's a filtered out thing.
That can fuck you up.
It's a tough thing, and that's a whole nother podcast in itself, the social media and what it does to the psyche of young people these days, or people like ourselves that are growing, it can really fuck with you. It's crazy world, man. And it's a toxic thing as well, but you got to use it as a tool. It's not a way of life. That's what I keep saying.
I hope there's someone that comes on that's some social media guru that talks about it, because I don't want to be negative, but I am going to be negative. I think it's fucking up a lot of society. But we used to say that before social media about magazines, showing model magazines where they're all skinny and they were fucking up girls that were a little bit overweight, and they're going, oh, look at these skinny models. Now it's social media. Now we're blaming it on that. We're always blaming it on shit at the end of the day. But, at the end of the day, live your own life. As healthy as you can, and you don't have to be over fucking positive with all this bullshit pressure out there. We see lots of videos. You got to think this way and be like this, and some of it can make you feel like shit, inferior. It's like, run your own race.
That's it. Fight your own fight.
Fight your own battles.
That's it. Well, man, good luck with CoastfishTV. I've watched it from the start, it's growing. It's really getting some success now, and it's great, man. It's awesome to see. I used to fish a lot back home. I could never call myself a fisherman here, but I love what you're doing with it.
Thanks,
and
bro.
I look forward to the next time we're on set together as well. So,
so I can shoot you.
Yeah, you can kill me off again.
No, I'll take you fishing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man.
Well,
Link up, jump on the show,
I love your podcast.
No, thanks, bro. I appreciate that, man.
How awesome is this? I'm grateful that you invited me here, and I'll take you for a fish one day.
Yeah, let's do it. It's been great to hear your journey, and there's a lot of stuff that I've found out on this podcast now that I didn't know before that makes up Andy who he is.
My God.
Yeah. So now the people are going to know about it. But,
That's what's going to make your show great, because, you know, you are going deep.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's got a journey, man. We're all living our own journey, and it's fascinating, I think, to see how people, the psyche that goes behind and the people and what they're doing and how they create what they do and how they live their best life, you know. And I think we can all learn from each other and apply it to our own life and in our own way, and just live it, man. That's it.
Yeah. I've learned a lot from you already, bro. I have.
Thanks,
I mean
bro.
that.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Anytime.
Righto, guys. That's us. We're out.